Hi, everyone. I'm Theresa, the founder of Lunapaca. Today, I'm so incredibly honored to be sitting down with Darby. Many of you will recognize her from the groundbreaking Netflix documentary Plastic Detox, where she and her husband, Jesse, were struggling with fertility issues, took a massive challenge of removing plastic from their daily life. And the result was not only a 95% drop in Darby's BPA levels, but also the arrival of this beautiful baby, which is just such a joy. And Darby had reached out to me about trying our plastic-free diapers. I was thrilled to send her our Alpaca starter set, and she's here today to share with us what she's learned about plastic and the impact on our bodies, plus, of course, her real-life experience making the switch to the Lunapaca reusable diapers. Darby, thank you so much for sitting with me today. And to kick us off, for anyone who hasn't seen the documentary, can you just share what you learned about plastic and the impact on our bodies?
Yeah. So my husband and we thought we were really crunchy before this study and this intervention and meeting Shauna. We didn't use plastic water bottles. And so we thought, well, we recycle, we use BPA free, we do all these things. We must be really healthy. And we were struggling with infertility. We found this study that was happening and just got an email that said, "Do you want to sign up for this experience?" And we thought, okay, we didn't know it would necessarily be filmed or anything. Um, and when Shauna came through our house, we learned that we had been so greenwashed with plastic. We still had plasticizers kind of everywhere. So what we quickly learned was that a lot of the plasticizers are endocrine disruptors and they're especially estrogenic. So not as you can hear, I have a new baby, so sorry about that.
Which
Um
no apologies. We're thrilled for you. You have this
Thank
baby.
you. It is the best experience.
One of the things that really mattered to me when I started Lunapaca was this idea of plastic free. And I was thinking about the impact on skin and on diaper rash when I started. But
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't know this when I started, but the impact on our hormones and some of the other impacts, you had mentioned estrogen. Can you just help us understand Dr. Shauna Swan's research a little bit and what your key takeaways were?
Yeah, and I'm no expert yet. Dr. Shauna is so much more learned than I in the ways of from what I understand, and we did a lot of deep diving with her, is that all of the plasticizers, the BPAs, the phthalates, all these things have been made out of petrochemicals. And so using these petroleum-based plastics, we have all these issues. Recycling them actually is worse. It puts them into the environment, right? All these little micro particles. And that's its own problem for the environment. But for human health, all these microparticles are giving off small hormone mimicking properties that signal our bodies to produce more or less of our own natural hormones. So that's pretty amazing and such a great reason to not put plasticized chemicals straight onto your baby, especially in such sensitive areas.
Right. Yeah. And I think that most parents, including cloth diapering parents,
Mhm.
just they don't really think about the plastic layer. They're only necessarily thinking about kind of what's touching the skin.
Right.
So when you started researching diapers specifically, because you had mentioned you cloth diapered before, what did
Mhm.
you notice and like what ultimately made you want to switch to or try Lunapaca?
Yeah, so I cloth diapered as a nanny, and it was better than regular diapers, right? They had less diaper rash, things like that. But when I went to cloth diaper my own son, and I was doing this 24/7 and learning more about plastics, because that was 10 years ago that I was cloth diapering, and we were just trying to help the
Mm,
environment and
right.
waste less and save money, right? And so now I'm looking at my son through the lens of his hormones, and I'm recognizing that he might be using a barrier that touches his skin that's cotton, but all the plastics that are surrounding it are still off-gassing onto him, and that was really worrisome for me.
Yeah, one of the things that really impressed me was just, when I started cloth diapering, it was really the talk was about saving the planet and, saving money, like you said. There really
Mhm.
wasn't a lot of conversation around the health impact, and certainly it ended at, like, diaper rash, like, that was kind of the
Yeah.
only thing you got, and so I think Dr. Shauna Swan's research, but also people just having more of, easy to digest experience like the plastic detox rather than reading medical articles or research articles. I think it brings it more into a visceral experience, like seeing
Mhm.
the impact, like it changed your life, right? Like
Yeah.
having a baby. So I think there's more interest in this, but it does feel overwhelming to a lot of parents. What brought you on board with the idea of like cloth diapering? Did you have to convince Jesse? Like, what, was it hard to kind of make the switch to an all natural plastic free diaper?
Yeah. So, nope, didn't have to convince my husband. We are luckily we grow a lot of our own food, and we try our best to just be healthy and not disrupt our hormones. We struggled for multiple years to have a baby, and that was so hard. But it also helped us to clean up our lifestyle a lot. And so, actually, starting with cloth diapers was our decision from the get go. But we did pure cloth because we didn't want to use the outside shells that were plastic,
Mm,
and we didn't have an alternative at the time. And so we did just pure cotton folds, and we used little pinchers that held them together, and it was kind of a nightmare, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, he'd wet through all his clothes multiple times a day, right? We were doing so much laundry, and we're like, as much as we care about the environment a ton, we love the environment, but
yeah.
it's like you throw away a regular diaper, and they have chemicals in them, and they get into the water supply, and they disrupt the whole chain down to the bees, right? That makes it sound so big. It's actually such a
Mhm,
small change that starts, right? So it's like just at home, just on your baby's bottom. You can do
mhm,
so much by
yeah.
cloth diapering. And then, like you said, yeah, not all cloth diapering is the same. So we were super on board to answer your first question, cloth diapering all the way. So this is the way to help our children, help our environment, and save some money. But overall, we were washing like 3 loads of laundry a day
That's so
doing
much water and time.
yeah, and so we're like, if we care about the environment, why are we why are we washing these diapers 3 times a day? This is kind of embarrassing. I eventually started looking for outers, the shells for the diapers, and I looked for organic, I looked for cotton, and I found some companies. I bought some different shells, and they said, organic or cotton. And me just being postpartum and ordering something online, I was like, "Oh, great." Got them in the mail, and I'm like, "These are purely plastic. What is the part that's cotton?" And it's the pulp inside that's cotton, or like
Yeah.
they're stuffed with something that's maybe biodegradable. But the exterior and the part that touches the baby, even though the pre-folds, they go inside a little pouch. And that pouch is made out of 100% polyester.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, so that's the part that touches my baby. Why did I just spend $100 on these? Like, when you look up cotton reusable diapers, this pops up online. And that was really
Yeah.
frustrating and kind of disheartening for me. So I was like, all right, well, I don't know. At this rate, should we just buy a good brand of diaper that's
Mhm.
that's
Right.
disposable at this point? Because putting 100% polyester on my child versus the environmental aspect of wasting diapers at this junction for human health, I think I'd rather waste some diapers. And so it became a big
Yeah.
moral dilemma for me, honestly. Like, this sounds kind of silly because it's just diapers. But for me, it was this huge wake up of like, how do I be a good steward of the earth? How am I being responsible with my family, and with the planet? And it just didn't feel like there was an answer. And then luckily I came across you on Instagram. And I was like, what are these diapers? I've been looking for wool covers. I had purchased some eco wool covers from somewhere before. It was so
Mhm.
confusing. I didn't realize they needed to be lanolized, and I needed to do a whole treatment myself to protect them. And then they had to be laundered so specifically, not just wash and cold or hand wash. It was like, you have to lanolize every 3 months and do this. And it just felt really impossible. And then just scrolling on Instagram one day, Lunapaca came up, and I was like, I have got to reach out and see what this is all about, because it seems little bit too good to be true. It's like 100% natural, organic, like what's going on here? And then I looked at your specs and I looked at all your materials and I was so impressed with
Oh,
everything that you had done. And I was like, this is it. If there's one company that I'm going to use that's going to like, the one thing you can do as a new mom is just
hmm.
buy these diapers. Like, honestly. So I was completely sold, a little culty. I was like, I'm willing to like shout this from the rooftops. This is the coolest company I've come across, truthfully, because we've been approached by a lot of companies for different things. But then I look at your story and your product, and all of these things that matter, from your supply chain to your dyes to the simplicity of your diapers, not needing to buy 100 diapers, right?
Right.
All of those things I think are so counter to what people are expecting, which is like, oh, I need to throw everything away and replace all of it at the same quantity. But it's like just
Yeah.
owning a
A
few really, really
few.
good things that work and consistently using it. It's like, I don't need to try every best new diaper brand. I just need 3 sets of Lunapaca.
Well, and you can also use some of the existing cotton pieces that you already own from your other cotton. I mean, if you have cotton inserts from other systems, they're compatible with our alpaca diaper covers.
Yes.
We really wanted this to be kind of a mix and match system for some people because we know that there's just so many great options out there. But I think one thing that most people don't realize is when it comes to other natural fibers like wool, you have to coat it in this lanolin, and that can
Mm-hmm.
be lanolin's a known skin irritant. Not only is it
Right.
not great for skin because it can create a long-term with repeat exposure can create a long-term sensitivity to wool, which isn't great.
I did
It
not
never
know
goes
that.
away. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's yeah, that was something a lot of people just don't know, and so it's not I think people get hung up on wool covers because of the washing concern, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so difficult to because you have to coat it. Just like you have, like, cotton that gets coated in, like, wax or something to make it water resistant, the
Mm-hmm.
sheep, they naturally coat their own wool in their own oil. That gives it that waterproof thing. So people think that our alpaca covers get that waterproof property, but some kind of coating, and there's no coating on it. This is the sort of the magic of alpaca. It has to do with the structure of the fiber itself. So not only is it the first all natural option that's hypoallergenic, it means it's easier to clean because you're not having to coat it with something to make it to give
Yeah.
it those properties. Can you walk us through a little bit about your experience using the product? Any first impressions, or were things any surprises along the way?
Well, I am really bad at following directions. This is a very just funny thing about me. My husband's an engineer, and I am like, nope, that doesn't make sense to me. So at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to fold these. Okay. And I was so proud. Postpartum brain, I looked at those instructions. They were so simple. I was like, oh, this is really easy. And we had bought some pre fold diapers like that before that were flats, and we
Yeah.
had not used them because they just didn't make sense. We're like, how are you supposed to fold them? It was like really involved. And yours was just so simple. And then when we put them on him, I was like, this is exactly what we needed, this shape. Because
Oh,
for him specifically, we had a lot of issues with, like, you've got a little boy, they are wetting through the sides, through the bottoms, through like all over the place, right? It's not just a standard on the pad that's
yeah.
right in the middle, right? So having them go around the legs and have that kind of triangle fold, and I love that it's like flip it over like a book and then turn it. I was like, this actually makes so much sense. And
Is it?
I didn't have to ask my husband for help with the directions as a new mom. Cause honestly, you've just had a child and your brain is a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
So easy. And
Oh,
they
good.
did in the wash, they held up so much better than our other cotton inserts that we had purchased before. The material that you use, and it's 100% cotton, but wherever you're getting this cotton, it's super absorbent, it's super durable, and it doesn't fray when you wash it. I can even put it on like a low tumble and I'm not ruining the product. So that was something that was really nice for me, is like, I also don't have to use the clothesline if I'm traveling. And that, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they were fantastic. And just the shape, it's such a simple thing, but being able to have that size of a piece of fabric, a lot of them come much smaller and they're
Mm.
only being folded as a trifold. as an insert, but they're not
Yeah,
actually wrapping around the legs and becoming a barrier for like blowouts, right?
totally.
Like I have not had to change the outer as much. I was like, okay, not have to wash this every day. Let's see if that's true. And it was true. I went 24 full hours before I had to wash the exterior. And the truth of that is that I got lazy and I used one of my old pre-folds instead of one of the new ones because they were in a different location in the house.
Okay.
And so
Fair
he,
reason, fair
yeah,
reason.
and he went through them. And if I had used the folds that you had sent, the flats, I wouldn't have had that problem. I don't think I would have had to wash that for another day or two. Just the
Yeah.
exterior, the wool.
Yeah, well, this is like, the alpaca cover, so it really can go for weeks without a wash. But if this inner layer gets a little damp and it's putting simply a new cotton piece on top of it, it will actually pull that moisture out of the alpaca because it will just naturally want to flow to the more absorbent piece, which is, of course, the cotton, not the alpaca. And so you're really able to use this thing for weeks without a wash. Um, I'm curious if because you only have one,
Hmm.
are you able to still use it daily when it does come time to wash it? How do you find that experience? Like, what is your regular routine like with the Lunapaca? Because you have the one set, which is the starter set. So it's the one cover and then
Hmm.
6 cotton inners and then 2 hemp boosters plus, of course, those directions.
Yeah.
So how does that fit into your life? This is designed as a part-time system? How's it working for you, and what is your experience with using it?
Yeah. I would say that it's amazing for a part time system with just one. There's really not much I have to do. It can last me pretty much the whole week. I mean, I sort of put away all our other diapers. I think it kind of depends on like your state in life, what you're doing, because I'm mostly working from home with our child, but I do real estate. That's my profession. And so there have been times where I'm like, "Oh, I'm drying the outer." And so but I'll continue to use your flats with maybe an old plasticized cover that I had. But
Yeah.
sometimes if it's drying, like I'll just go take him out on a walk outside and we'll just have a little like no clothes walk, and if he goes in the grass, that's okay. It doesn't take long for that to dry.
Yeah.
On the clothesline, honestly. And even if it wasn't fully dry, I didn't realize why. You just explained that really well. But sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not totally dry, but the cotton, I'll just put that on you. And then it seems to dry on him. So
Yep.
that was pretty cool. I would say, yeah, if you're full-time diapering, I have another one, but if you're part-time diapering, one is plenty. And I think if you wanted to full-time, like my plan is to have 3 sets. I think that would be my ultimate goal. Just because I like not doing as much laundry. I think I could get
Yeah.
away with doing way less laundry if I had 3, and that's just
Yep.
out of pure luxury. Like, I think
Yeah,
that
we
sounds
it's
fantastic.
it's totally, a great recommendation. We recommend 3 to 4 sets for full-time use.
If I'm not mistaken, wool is pretty decent for temperature regulation.
Totally.
I
Yeah.
haven't noticed, even though it's, like, hot summer in Idaho, and we're in Southern Idaho, so it's very hot here. Um, Even when he's wearing that, I don't see him getting overheated.
Especially compared to
Mm.
plastic. Like, it's
Yeah,
actually alpacas evolved with this particular fiber to handle the fluctuations in temperature. The fiber itself has a hollow, like, air pocket, allows that heat transfer to work so well. It's very, very good at regulating body temperature and keeping the body comfortable because that's what it was designed to do
and
by
I love
nature.
that. So that was really cool, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But I like that there were different sizes too, because that is hard to find for cloth diapers in general. They'll be different size, but it's just how you snap the buttons. So there's
Yeah.
still that same amount of material. Whereas with the Lunapaca diapers, it was like, oh no, it's actually this
Gone.
piece
You
of
don't have it.
material. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really
Yeah.
cool.
And the sizing is pretty
Mm.
flexible, like you found, like being able to use a larger cover on a smaller baby.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it also gives you a little more space to add additional inserts if you start using it at night and you feel like you need a little more to get them go longer at night. So yeah, we recommend 3 to 4 covers for full time, but you can always stack the set so that you get essentially 24 one size cotton flats and then maybe 2 or 3 in your child size and then 1 or 2 larger ones for nighttime or for future. So, but you can use those in your rotation. So, because I said like the sizing's pretty flexible when you're sizing up. So you mentioned you work outside the home, you're at home a lot, but what would you say, like who is the right kind of parent these diapers are for, would you say?
I mean, I would say that you really could use them no matter what you're doing. Um, so there's a lot of people that work outside the home and then they have caregivers, right? I would say if I think back to my nanny days, this would have been much easier than all of the inserts and just all of the laundry, especially, right? So I would say for a caregiver, it would be really, really convenient. Sometimes, we're out and about and I'll put a wet diaper back into my carrier, right? Or something. I'll put it in my diaper bag or I'll just put it in my car because I don't have time. I'm a new mom. Just on the way home, right? You change them in a parking lot and you got to do something with it.
Gotta do what you
Uh,
gotta do.
yeah, when it's these really good materials, they're not smelling. And so that's kind of nice. You really can, I think you could send a kid to a daycare or something like that with them and have it not be difficult, which is really, really cool. It's super simple. It's almost easier because you don't have to run out and buy diapers. I can't imagine how often people have to run out and actually purchase disposable diapers. I know for me, um, it takes a long time for me to take out my garbage.
Yeah,
I like to wait until my husband gets home because I'm like,
for sure.
it's hard. I'm like, how do I tie I put him in a carrier, but he really likes to just be held in my arms all day. I mean, it's just made life a lot easier.
That's such a good point,
Mm.
and something I told a mom recently, she said, "But isn't it gross that you have to push the poop into the potty?" And I said, "Maybe, but isn't it gross that, like, I mean, you still have to wipe a butt at at a
Yeah.
lot of stages, and you're
Right.
just wiping the diaper, but also isn't it gross to have, like, literal like, a bucket of poop sitting in your
Yes.
house?"
Yes.
Like,
Just
I did it. I mean, I'm not judging. I definitely had a pail of poop sitting in my house, and that thing stunk like the high heavens. It was just
yes.
so bad, and I never have to do that, like, diaper genie walk of, whatever to the like, oh, man, and wrapping it in plastic, I one thing people don't understand is storage. So maybe if you can walk us
Mhm.
through how you store these diapers, because I had just an open pail system in our bathroom,
Mhm.
and people are like, "But doesn't that smell?" And I'm like, it really I'm not wrapping it and trapping it in plastic where
Right.
you've got bacteria doing its thing and making really a lot of stink out of, ammonia and whatever. So that really worked for us, that open airflow, but tell me what
Mhm.
worked for you.
That's really also what we do. We have a wicker basket for his clothes and we kind of just fill it up when it's dirty. And he's still breastfed exclusively, so we're not yet to the stage where we're having to use the potty, but we have a bidet and we have a little sprayer. But honestly, they don't smell in my opinion when they're just sitting in a basket. I
Yeah.
the air, it really takes care of that.
Yeah, and you're also
Mhm.
in this, like, golden stage of cloud diapering where those diapers go right in the laundry basket, like, there is no spraying or anything.
I also really like that you bring up, some of the wetness in general.
Mhm.
That was one of our big interests actually with cloth diapering that I forgot, to mention, was that we want him to potty train early. We
Yeah.
don't want him in diapers forever, and I think that commercial diaper has done a really good job of keeping kids in diapers for a very long time because they become dependent. I think that it's really great that they can still feel that wetness
Cause and
because
effect, yeah.
yeah, they're just mentally they're starting to learn.
It's like we started potty training from the minute we were using the cloth diapers, really. When it comes to going plastic free, what is your advice for people very concerned about plastic and wanting to reduce their baby's plastic exposure.
Yeah.
Would you say that the cloth diapering is worth it? What your advice would be to sort of de-stressing those already worried, stressed out parents?
Yeah. Well, I would say that one, like infancy is so short. And
Yeah.
so you can do hard things. Even if it was really hard, it's so worth it. Um, but it's not. It's really not that much harder, to be honest, to fold a diaper and put on a cover versus just using a disposable diaper. It's really not a huge deal at all. Um, and then I would say too, like, as far as things that you should change for your baby, if I could urge anyone to change anything, it would be what touches your baby's skin. And what touches their skin 99% of the time is going to be their diaper. So honestly, even more than their crib sheets or anything else, what's touching directly on their skin that they're sweating on. And that's
Mm,
really important for people to think about. How much does your baby's skin actually touch their crib sheet when they're in clothes? Honestly, not that much. And I do think you should change your crib sheets. I think you should get organic cotton crib sheets.
yes,
But it's funny what people say, "Oh, I absolutely need this for my baby. I would never get a polyester crib sheet, but I'll use a plastic diaper." And
so
I just
true.
think what's touching your child. And then other than that, obviously I exclusively breastfeed, which is amazing and truly a luxury. I think, like, I mean, it's a very hard luxury, but not
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
can do that. But just bottles, what goes in your baby's mouth, right? So if I had two things, I'd say glass bottles, please, because if not, you're heating up milk in plastic. And then diapers. I think they're even more important than wipes, to be honest, because you're sitting there and you're really sweating into that diaper, whereas the wipe touches the baby for 5 seconds when you're changing the diaper, right? And I see a lot of
Yeah.
people using regular diapers and saying, well, I'll spend extra money on wipes. But price wise, you're spending half as much as one diaper set for maybe 1 month's supply of wipes. And it's like, actually, over the long run, it's way more expensive to get those wipes than it is to get the cloth diapers. And truthfully, I've caught myself just using organic towels. Like,
Yeah.
we just use little tiny face cloths, and when we're home and when we're out, I just get dry wipes and I just put water on them. And it's not that big of a
That's
deal.
such a good I got a plug. We do sell cotton wipes. These are made of the same
Oh,
material
I
as
didn't
the
even know
flats.
that.
Yep, they're double-sided, so they have a little more to them,
Yeah.
but they're the same exact absorbent material as our cotton flats. They can also because they're the same material as the diaper, you can have two purposes, not only for a regular wipe, you can also fold them in half and put them, if you need just a little more absorbency, 1 to 2 wipes in the wet zone.
Yeah.
They're very versatile, so I love our cotton wipes. I gotta plug them here. I
Yeah. I didn't even
think
know
it's
that you had them.
I'm happy to, share more about natural fibers and sort of the benefits of those fibers. But of course, all the information that you're sharing, and of course, what that documentary on Netflix is doing to spread the awareness about plastic and all the ways our body interacts with these kinds of plastics and the health impact. So thank you so much for sharing your experience, for trying our plastic-free diapers, for finding us. And as we head into Plastic-Free July, I just really want to thank you and all the work you're doing for helping create more awareness around this really important issue.
Oh, thank you. You too. And thanks for illuminating me even further on your product, because there's so many things you're researching in this sphere as a new mom when you're trying to reduce plastic. And so having a transparent company that has all that information listed and that you've actually taken that time in your research and development is like leaps and bounds beyond so many of the companies that have reached out to me. Like, I can't thank you enough, because it takes
Oh,
a ton of the time away from me, and I don't have that time. I need someone to do that. And I like that your diapers aren't only really effective and have amazing materials, but you're also like working with the community, working with the environment as a whole picture, and helping people and helping the planet at the same time. So I really appreciate you so much. Excited to buy more products. I'm about
yeah.
to probably hop on and get some of those cloth wipes, and my goal is to get 2 more of those Stack-a-Packas full sets. So I
Thank
urge
you,
everyone do
Darby.
that.
I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today. And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.